Ecclesiastes chapter 9, 13 through 15. So here we see that a small city, and there was only few people within it, and there came a great king against it. People are very few in number, and the city is small, but the enemy that came against them was so big. So of course they cannot fight against it, right? That's what happens in our life too. When enemy comes with our own physical strength, we cannot fight back because we are not strong. We are little city. We are very few. We cannot stand with that. So what happened was this enemy came against it and besieged it and built great bulwarks against it. Now there was found in it a poor wise man, and he by his wisdom delivered the city. Yet no man remembered that same poor man. So even though the enemy came so strong, with the wisdom of a poor man, they were able to save that city. So that city represents our family, our city, our children, all those things. Those are included like a city. So the enemy always comes so strong against it. But God is saying that with the wisdom, we can resist it and we can win over it. So this wisdom, when you look at it, wisdom is not we may think it's not a weapon, it's not a spear or sword or nothing. You cannot just take this knife and kill that enemy. It's not like that. So wisdom is not a physical knowledge either. So now today we're going to discuss about what is wisdom. So wisdom that we can get it only from God. So let me read one verse that is Proverbs chapter 13, verse 20. Proverbs 13:20. So if you walk with a wise man, then you can be wise. But a companion of fools shall be destroyed. You always hear that, if you walk with a chicken, all you learn is to peck, right? But if you walk with an eagle, if you go with an eagle, you will be able to soar high. So whoever is your companion, that will show, what is your character. By looking at your friends, you can see that. So that's how you can get wisdom, by walking with the wise. Then another way we can get wisdom is James chapter 1, verse 5. So ask God, He will give you wisdom. So unless you ask, you're not going to get it. So that's another way you can get wisdom. Once there was in a palace, and such a huge cry was coming out of the palace. Everybody came and gathered in front of the palace. What happened? That day, that is the last day for that king. The next day, the law of that land is they will, after 1 year, the king reign in that land, and after 1 year, they will take that king to the nearest island. And that island is full of wild animals and everything. So as soon as the king get there, he will be killed. So the servants, by the time they come back, the palace is ready for the next king. And that next king also going to be only 1 year. So that's why today is the last day for the king. So they're all crying and saying goodbye to the king. And they know that he's not going to live anymore. So the next day, the same thing happened. They took the king to the island, and the servants came, and now it's ready, and everybody calling, who wants to be the king next year? And nobody wants to be the king because they know they're going to live only 1 year. So everybody said, no. They will be offered everything, every riches they can get. For that 1 year, they can live such a happy life. So nobody still wanted. So there was a poor man. He came and said, okay, I'll take it. So he took it. He was such a wise guy. So as soon as he took the throne, because everyone, when they come, took the position, they will be so much in the enjoying and all the treasures and everything. That's what they will be so much caught up in it. But this man, he's so wise. So what he did was he took some servants and he sent them over there to chop all the trees and kill all the animals. And he got that island all prepared, and he made a lot of mansions and buildings and roads and everything, the garden, everything is ready. In 5 months, that island is ready for living. So the poor man, the king said, now can I go? Then they said, no, you are hired for 1 year, so you have to stay here. So after 1 year, everyone came to say goodbye to the king, and king is so happy because he knows where he is going and what he is expecting. So he went there and he lived a happy life. So same way, we all living here. One day we all will be, everyone will say bye to us and we will be gone. And do we know where we're going and what we are expecting? If we know that, then we will be happy to go. Otherwise, our life will be miserable. So that's how the wisdom always leads us through the right path. So we have to pursue wisdom. We'll see what the Bible says. These days I read the Proverbs the most, more than any other day. The more I read, I can understand. It was opening my eyes to learn a lot of things. So the Bible teaches, especially in Proverbs, you can learn wisdom a lot. Mostly you can see two things in the Bible, in Proverbs. One is wise people and the other thing is foolish people. Then you can see the people who are righteous and who is living wicked. So those are the two categories you can see. And chapter 1, verse 1, it is saying that the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. So Solomon is the one who wrote most of the Proverbs. As we read in 1 King chapter 4, verse 29, we can go there first, we'll come back here. But 1 King chapter 4, verse 29 and 30. Verse 32 also. So he said 3,000 proverbs. And out of that, 800 is included in this book. So you imagine how much he wrote. So, this proverb contains 915 verses, but out of that, 769 is written by Solomon. So you can imagine how much wisdom he had. But did that help him till the last day? No. Even though he wrote, he couldn't stay on it till his end. That is so sad. So even though we're teaching wisdom, that doesn't mean that we're going to stay in wisdom unless we pursue it. So that's what happened to him. He wrote all this, but he couldn't even follow it. That's so sad, isn't it? So the first 9 chapters, it's all about speeches. It's all speech, do this, and all those. So then I just wanted to focus on chapter 8 and 9, but before we go there, we will just skim through each chapter. So first chapter, it is talking about few things, like verse 2 and 3. It's saying, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice and judgment and equity, to give subtlety to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. So it is saying why this proverb is written, what is the use of it. It is to give you instruction to lead a good life. That's what it is saying. And verse 7, that is the foundation of the principle of this proverb. That is, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So if we have fear of God and live a good life, then we will be living a righteous life. That's what it's saying. Now we will go to verse, there's a few, verse 22 we can read. Okay. So here we can see 3 kinds of fools here. Of course, we see the wise people and the foolish people, right? So this chapter, verse 21 and 22, talking about 3 kinds of foolish people. So we'll read from 20. Wisdom cry without, she uttereth her voice in the street. She crieth in the chief place of the concourse, in the openings of the gates in the city. She uttereth her words, saying, how long, you simple ones? So that is one, the simple people, the simplicity. And the scorners, that's the second kind of fools. And the fools hate knowledge. So these three kinds of fools, all, Bible says the fool always says there is no God. So whoever doesn't believe in God and live a life fearing God, those people all include in this category. And there are three kinds of people. Simple people, the one is living simpletons. So they are like a careless people. They are so ignorant, they don't know. So suppose you come and tell them, oh, the moon is made of cheese, they will believe that. So anything you teach, they are so ignorant and they believe. And the scorners, you always they mock. Anything they find, any teaching or anything they hear, they always scorn and they mock everything. So that is the kind of people. The fools are the worst. You cannot change them because they always hate knowledge. No matter how much you try to teach them, they're unteachable people. They say, this is the way I'm living, this is my culture, this is my tradition. You don't come and change me. So those are the people you cannot change at all. The first group, still there is a chance because they are unlearned. You can teach them. The mockers, they always be mocking unless they change. So these three category people, they always, talking against God and they don't want to listen to what the Lady Wisdom teaching. So that's what there we can see. And the next thing we can see 24, verse 24 through 32 is saying, what happens if you don't listen? So we'll read that. Okay, that's good enough. So here it's saying if you don't believe that's what's going to happen, then don't call upon me. I will not be there to help you. So there is a time for everything. So that's what we learn in the first chapter. Then chapter 2 and chapter 3 is keep on saying you pursue wisdom. No matter whatever you have to give up, pursue wisdom. You're going to be blessed. So that's what it's saying. Now, when it comes to chapter 4, it's saying the first one. Hear, you children, the instruction of a father and attend to no understanding. So like a father teaching a son, that's how God is teaching his children. Oh, and he's saying that I was a verse 4, he taught me also and said unto me. So this father is saying, my father taught me, so I am also teaching you. So God is expecting us, being parents, to teach our children what is wisdom, how to pursue wisdom. So many of the people believe, because this is written by Solomon, so Solomon is talking about his father and his mother. They taught me, so follow this. So that's what it's saying. So it is talking, no matter whatever mistake you made in your life, that's not the final. You still can come back. You can come back. There is still chance. If you follow wisdom, you will have a good life ahead of you. You can pursue wisdom. So that's what this chapter 4 is mainly teaching. Now we will go to verse chapter 5. Chapter 5 is mainly talking about wisdom and moral life. So one more thing, that verse 18, chapter 4 verse 18 is saying, but the path of the just is like a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness, they know not at what they stumble. So the more you pursue wisdom, your life will be more brighter and more righteous, and you will have a satisfied life. But if you follow the wickedness, then you will be going into darkness. So that's what happens. So chapter 5 is talking how to lead a moral life. We'll read just a couple verses. That's verse 3 and 4. Okay. Here it is saying that, it is like a honey dripping from. That's how sweet when you go out of boundaries. I don't want to go more into it, but if you don't keep God's standard, it will look like it's a honey. But lately it's going to be so bitter like a wormwood. So we have to be careful what we're choosing. Now, let's read 13 and 14 also. Okay. So here it's saying, I started so privately, so secret. The sin, nobody knew. It started in my heart, and I was doing everything private. I didn't think that it's going to be coming in front of the assembly. But slowly, whatever we follow, the fruit will come out one day, right? The seed that's we sowing, it will come out one day. So this man is saying, I did a very evil thing in the secret. I thought nobody going to find out. But now I am in the midst of the congregation and the assembly, how evil I am now. Now I cannot change my label, right? So that's why wisdom is saying, be careful when you step into out of boundaries. So now, chapter 6 and 7, it is the same thing it is talking about, and then it is talking about laziness. Don't be lazy, always pursue wisdom and go after that. So, and work hard so you will have a good life. Now, we'll go to chapter 8. Chapter 8 is like talking about a lady wisdom. This woman of wisdom is crying. And where is she standing? We can see chapter 8, verse 2. Okay. So she is standing at the city gate where everyone is walking through. Her teaching is not secret at all. When you look at the wicked people, whatever they're doing, whatever they're teaching, it's all in secret because it's all evil things they're teaching, right? But this lady wisdom, she's standing at the corner and at the top of the hill, and she is speaking loud so everyone can hear. That's the same thing Jesus did also. When Jesus was in the world, he was not teaching anything privately. Everything he wanted everyone to hear because it is something that everyone can follow. He didn't teach anything wrong there. That's why, so the wisdom is comparing to Jesus. So Jesus did the same thing, but did everyone listen to it? No, it's their choice. So this wisdom is crying so loud and inviting everyone, come and listen to me. Listen to me. There is a different way of life. And she's teaching 3 sections we can divide it into. First one is chapter 8, verse 10 and 11. So she's saying that living in God's wisdom leads to most valuable things in life. If you pursue wisdom, then you can live a good life. You have moral standards. You have a healthy relationship. You will have a fruitful life. So these things you cannot buy with money, right? You cannot go to store and get it. These things you have to pursue it. You have to every day, you have to read the word and see, am I living? For example, if I am angry at someone, if I keep bitterness, I have to look and see what the wisdom talk about it. And I have to change myself. Unless I pursue, some people think as we grow old, we may get more wise. No, being old doesn't help wisdom at all. We may get some experience and some knowledge, and through experience we can learn something and we can change our character if we want to. But the wisdom, unless we pursue it, if we get it by as we grow old, we get more wisdom, then Solomon wouldn't be like that. He was more wise when he was young. He was pursuing wisdom all the time. But after that, when he grew old, he had 1,000 wives. He is saying that don't go out of boundaries, but he's the one who went after 1,000 wives. I always wonder, when did he get time at least to talk to once a year to one lady? He didn't get time. So that's how he became like a foolish man. So wisdom doesn't grow with age. Every day we have to pursue it. We have to pursue it. So that's what it's saying. Chapter 8, verse 10 and 11 saying, if you pursue wisdom, you will have everything, very good values in your life. Now we'll go to 15 and 16. Okay, here it's saying that through me, kings rule. Good leader always rule with justice, right? They always stand for the truth when a good leader leads the land. So that means he's drawing wisdom. He may not be, you can see wisdom everywhere in the world, right? Without even written in the tablet, you can see that. I was reading, it is so interesting, the honeybees. Honeybees live, the average, they will live only 60 days. I didn't know that. But the queen, queen honeybee, because she doesn't work, she just sit and give orders. So she live maybe up to 2 years. But the workers, they live only up to 60 years. And they have to go and visit at least 1 million flowers to get even 1.5 teaspoon honey. So you imagine how much hard they're working. From daybreak till it is dark, they work, 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 work. So that's all they're doing. They don't have any laws written in a tablet, just like we carrying the book or anything, but they all follow the same rule. How did they get that? It's so amazing. So wisdom is everywhere. Unless you accept it, you won't get. So these kings who rule with justice, they are drawing wisdom in their life. Every time they rule with justice and follow that. So say another thing, if people living in darkness, they don't obey the wisdom, they will be drawing darkness, more darkness into their life. So it's our choice, Human, many human they always reject and they want to live on their own desire. That means they are living in darkness every day. Now we'll see the third thing, that is 18 and 19. Okay. So it is saying it is better than rubies and it's better than gold. So pursue wisdom. So that's the same thing. It's saying you will get value of life. So then finally, the God's wisdom is talking about 35 and 36. She concluding her speech like this. Okay, so the one who find me, they will be like finding a treasure. So you have to pursue wisdom. So the whole Bible, all through this earth, is setting before you, the choice. You have to choose either wisdom or you can choose the foolishness. It's your choice. So that's what the Bible all through life calling people. The wisdom is calling and the foolishness is also calling. So that's what we will see. Now we'll go to chapter 9. In chapter 9, you can see two ladies there. Two competing voices always coming against us. Now, we'll see two ways. Let's read verse 1. Okay. So she built a house and she has 7 pillars. So that is the lady wisdom. Two ladies I said in chapter 9. One is lady wisdom and the other one is woman of folly or woman of foolishness. So the lady wisdom built a big house and she has 7 pillars. Many people interpret these 7 pillars as different things. Some people say it is 7 churches, 7 gifts, 7 foundational truth. Whatever it is, it's basically 7 means completeness. So God is saying, my house is so big. No matter you all want to enter, it's made of 7 pillars, so it is that big. Don't think that there is no room and I don't want to pursue wisdom. No, there is enough room. So wisdom is calling out. She built a big house and calling out. And what did she do? Verse 2. Okay. So she furnished her table and she killed the beast. In olden times, slaughter an animal